Hello and welcome to the new teacher induction video for the British curriculum. My name is Lee Wilson and I'm the Assistant Head for Teaching, Learning and Innovation at GEMS Winchester School, Fujairah. The aim of the video is to explore the structure of the British curriculum. We'll also explore the fundamental principles of the curriculum, such as the values, aims and the purpose of it, and we'll review how students progress through the different key stages. Throughout the video, you'll hear from a number of colleagues who are experts in their key stage, and they will explain how the British curriculum looks within that key stage and how learners progress between them. The British curriculum model sets out the programmes of study and attainment targets for all subjects in all 4 key stages. It's a curriculum which is balanced and broadly based, and which promotes the cultural, mental and physical development of pupils at school and in society. The British curriculum prepares pupils for the opportunities, responsibilities and experiences they will face in later life. The national curriculum provides pupils with an introduction to the essential knowledge they need to be educated citizens. It introduces pupils to the best that has been thought and said, and it helps engender an appreciation of human creativity and achievement. As part of the British curriculum, teachers set high expectations for every pupil. They plan stretching work for pupils whose attainment is significantly above the expected standard, but there is also an emphasis on inclusion and planning that enables all students to learn at their highest level of performance. Teachers use appropriate assessment techniques to set targets which are deliberately ambitious, and this encourages self-directedness and a desire to learn. I hope you enjoy our video and learn lots about the British curriculum.
My name is Maria and I am a KG1 teacher at our amazing school since January 2019. I am here to talk about early years and foundation stage. Today's learning intention is we are learning about early years and foundation stage at WSF. Here are our success criteria. I can describe the EYFS curriculum. I can explain the EYFS guiding principles. I can identify the 7 areas of learning, and I can describe learning assessment in KG. Let's begin with EYFS curriculum overview. The early years foundation stage, often abbreviated as EYFS, is the United Kingdom statutory framework that sets the standards that all early years providers must meet to ensure all children learn and develop well and are kept healthy and safe. It places emphasis on teaching and learning to ensure children are ready for school. It gives children the broad range of knowledge and skills that provide the right foundation for good future progress through school and life. It is one of the most widely used frameworks in the UAE. Early years foundation stage is crucial to developing firm foundations throughout a child's school journey. Here at WSF, we use the term KG to refer to EYFS, as parents find it a more comfortable term to use. Prior to the Ministry of Education's new ruling, children were able to enter KG1 aged 3 years and 8 months, the requirement being that they turn 4 by December 31st. Now, children must be a minimum of 4 years old to enroll in KG1. Now let's move on to EYFS guiding principles. Number 1, every child is a unique child who is constantly learning. They can be resilient, capable, confident, and self-assured. With this in mind, we understand and observe each child's development and learning, assess progress, plan for the next step, and identify any need for additional support. Number 2, children learn to be strong through positive relationships. Positive relationships are warm and loving and foster a sense of belonging. As KG teachers, we are sensitive and responsive to the children's needs, feelings, and interests, but we also are supportive of their own efforts and independence. Next, children learn and develop well through enabling environments. Enabling environments value all people. It values learning, Teachers create stimulating resources relevant to all children's culture and communities. There are rich learning opportunities through play, and children learn to explore and be confident. All of these result to learning and development. We teach children by ensuring challenging, playful opportunities across the prime and specific areas of learning and development. Activities must encourage children to play and explore, think critically, and learn actively. Learning and development covers the 7 key areas of learning with the early years at foundation stage, which are communication and language development, physical development, personal, social, and emotional development, literacy, maths, understanding the world, and expressive arts and design. We plan the activities based on the scope and sequence. We make sure children enjoy by creating interesting and fun themes every month. Themes include All About Me, healthy lifestyles, dinosaurs, traditional tales, mini beasts, and so much more. Let's discuss communication and language. Providing an environment for young children to express themselves and speak and listen in a range of situations allows them to develop their language and communication skills. Next is physical development. We all know that young children often love to be active, but they also need to understand that continued physical activity as well as healthy food choices are important. Next is personal, social, and emotional development, and this area helps to shape children's social skills and develops respect and an understanding of their different feelings. For literacy, it's important for children to discover phonemic awareness, the ability to hear and identify different words and sounds, and also to start reading and writing. Maths. Children need to be guided in developing skills with numbers and calculations, as well as being able to describe shapes, spaces, and measures. Next is understanding the world. This involves children making sense of things by observing and exploring everything from the places they spend time to, the technology and other things that they use. And lastly is expressive arts and design. Activities like drawing, playing with paint, musical instruments, or technology all give children the chance to express themselves and learn new things. Now let's discuss KG assessment of learning. EYFS assessment is continuous. However, at WSF, we choose to report student progress to parents every half term or end of term. This provides both parents and teachers with a well-rounded picture of their child's knowledge, understanding, and abilities, their attainment against expected levels, and their readiness for the next term or year. Assessments are based on the learning outcomes or early learning goals set for each term. Throughout their year, the children will be observed and assessed through their play in order to gain insights and make reasonable judgments against the early learning goals. Currently, we use the terms emerging, expected, and exceeding to describe our judgments. And before we finish, let's have a quick activity which is called Build It Challenge. STEM is an acronym referring to science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. In a STEM design challenge, students are presented with a task or problem and are given limited materials to create a solution. For today's challenge, we should build something that floats. You may use materials like paper, tape, pencil, rubber bands, straws, or plastic bottles. Be creative and don't forget to have fun.
Hi everyone, my name is Donna Nix and I'm a primary specialist of about 20 years now, and I'm here to give you a very quick introduction to the national curriculum for England at primary level. So the learning intention for today is to understand more about the primary national curriculum and how it's delivered, and how the attainment of the individual outcomes are assessed. By the end of the session, you should know what the primary national curriculum is comprised of and how it is delivered. Be aware of how assessment of the individual intended learning outcomes is conducted, and understand how pupil progress is gauged and monitored. So we're going to look at what the national curriculum is, which are the core subjects and which are foundation, and how we deliver the national curriculum for England most effectively. What is the primary national curriculum? This is a document that was compiled by the UK government, and it's a set of learning outcomes or learning intentions that all students are expected to achieve. This is a very basic starting point. It's intended as a starting point, so there is additional learning that should go with it. It's split into key stages. As you can see here, Key Stage 1 and Key Stage 2 are lower and upper primary, respectively, and Key Stage 3 and 4 are secondary. Now, the national curriculum, as I mentioned, is a list of different learning outcomes. These are split into programs of study for each subject. The subjects, English, Maths and Science, these are the core subjects. The foundation subjects are everything else. So you may see that this varies from school to school depending on the facilities and what's offered. Geography and history are often combined into humanities. The best way to deliver the national curriculum. Although there are discrete programs of study, the best way to teach this is with a cross-curricular approach. So whereas you have individual subjects, the idea is to combine those around a central theme or a topic. It's very important to differentiate work. So although there is a learning intention, your success criteria should break that learning intention down into 3 steps so that all the students in the class can access it and everyone can feel as if they have had some success. It's very important to do the cross-curricular approach, I should mention, in that it will help students to be able to apply their knowledge that they've learned in one area in a different context. And those key skills of being able to adapt and transfer knowledge are very future-proof skills in learning. Assessment. Different types of assessment. Your formative assessment is your daily teacher observations, classroom dialogue, marking of student work, in-class quizzes, anything that you are using to form an opinion about how your students are doing. Your summative assessment is at the end of a unit of study, saying which knowledge has been retained. In both of those, it's important to phrase your questioning correctly. I'm sure that you'll be doing further study on questioning techniques, but in your formative assessment in particular in class, having your questions pitched at the correct level and developing further thinking skills is very important. Point 3, ongoing pupil tracking and additional assessments. At the start of the year, you will do a baseline assessment to give you a starting point. This is obviously important for you to know in general which level your class is working at, but also to identify those students who will need further help. This may be that they need help, they need more support at an AAL level, or it may be that they are gifted and talented and will require extension activities. In both cases, the inclusion team should be able to assist with making individual education plans where appropriate or offering additional support. Student progress. What is meant by student progress? Judging from where they began to where they are currently will show you if they have made progress. We know that obviously using assessment, We can compare data from previous assessments to see if the student is improving or if intervention needs to be put in place to help them. Progress is tracked, as I mentioned there, using the data that you have, and there are often additional programs such as learning ladders where data is added regularly across the year so that you can see which students are improving and which need more help. Your next steps from that. Obviously, your assessments and your data should help you to improve your planning. If you know that the majority of your class have not understood a topic or not understood a particular learning intention, you know that it needs to be revisited, retaught, have more time spent on it. The data is also obviously used by SLT and administration to report back to parents. Data is studied to see if there are trends across a grade level or across the school, again, so that improvements can be made for the following year or the following term. On reflection, after that very quick run through, what is it that you understand the primary national curriculum to be? What is the best way for students to learn the intended outcomes in the different programs of study? How is work differentiated in primary lessons? And how will you know if a student is learning the intended outcome from the subject's program of study? To summarise, the National Curriculum for England is made up of core and foundation subjects with a detailed programme of study for each. The link for those will be made available to you also. Making links between those programmes of study is encouraged as best practice and work is always differentiated. Student progress is tracked regularly in relation to the specific learning outcomes. It enables you to plan effectively, setting individual targets for students, and is vital for whole school data collection and reporting purposes. Formative and informal assessments are conducted continually in a variety of ways, determining the next steps in teaching and learning. Summative assessments are conducted at the end of a period of learning to determine the level of attainment. I hope that that has been helpful and that you're having a wonderful week, and I wish you a very successful year of teaching. Thank you.
New teacher, welcome to GEMS Education. And now I shall be continuing with the induction for the secondary level. But before we begin, let me give a brief introduction about myself. My name is Anjali and I'm a chemistry teacher at GEMS Winchester School, Fujairah. I've been associated with the school for about a year now, and the journey has been incredible. Let's begin with the session. The session aims to make you understand the structure of the British curriculum, however, from a secondary perspective. The session would be considered a successful one if towards the end you are able to identify the age band for each key stage, you're able to list the different exam boards used at key stage 4 and 5, you're able to differentiate between the national curriculum for England and other methods of teaching, and finally, if you're able to summarize about formative and summative assessment. Let's begin by looking at the age band for key stages. Now, the British curriculum is organized into blocks of years called key stage. In the secondary level, you are going to see 3 of them. The very first is the key stage 3. Here we're looking at the age group 11 to 14. The grades that fall in this key stage are from 6 to 8. And if you're to talk in terms about the year group, you would say from 7 to 9. This is followed by the key stage 4. At the end of the key stage 3, the students opt for their GCSE or IGCSE subjects. It's worth noting that I'm mentioning GCSE or IGCSE because the schools might be offering both of them. At the end of the key stage 4, the students are formally assessed and they take their GCSE or IGCSE examination. We're looking at the grades 9 and 10. Finally, we have the key stage 5. At the end of the key stage 5, the students are again formally assessed and they take their A-level or international A-level examinations. The key stage 5 is also referred to as 6th form. The grades in this key stage are 11 and 12. Moving on and talking about the foundation and core subjects. Core subjects are the subjects that are considered at the center of the curriculum, essentially the mandatory or the compulsory subjects. Foundation subjects are the other subjects, the optional ones. Now, the British curriculum doesn't really assign any subject to be core or foundation, and it really depends on the school. So, in GEMS education schools, you're likely to see these as the core subjects: English language, mathematics, science, which involves physics, chemistry, biology. There would also be some non-IGCSE core subjects like Ministry of Education, Arabic, UAE Social Studies, Physical Activity and Well-being. Finally, the foundation subjects, which could range from business studies to computer science, history, psychology. Now, the foundation subjects are the subjects that the school offers, so you might not have all of them. Moving on to the different exam boards. Exam boards are the organizations that offer the qualifications to students. So, the different exam boards you're likely to encounter for Key Stage 4 and 5 are Cambridge Assessment International Education, Pearson edXL, Oxford AQA. When we talk about different exam boards, how are they actually different? Well, while the content essentially remains the same, it's the format of the exam that might change. In order to have a better understanding of this, I have a small activity for you. I would want you to go to Save My Exams website, download a past paper for your subject for any qualification. Currently, this particular website has the past papers for these two exam boards and compare the two. Then you're likely to understand what I'm talking about. So this is how the website looks. Different qualifications, choose your subject, download the past paper and compare them. Now, while you are assessing your students' progress, you are definitely going to carry out formative assessment and summative assessment. Formative assessment is carried out while you are in the classroom, when teaching is happening. It helps to improve your teaching and students' learning. It basically gives you information about where your students stand. In order to carry out formative assessment, you could probably ask students to draw a mind map towards the end of the lesson or assign them low-stake quizzes. Summative assessment is carried out to evaluate student learning at the end of an instructional unit. An example of this would be end-of-term examinations. Basically, at the end of the day, we're trying to gather relevant information about student performance. When you're teaching in a school that follows British curriculum, what are the methods of teaching? I would like to begin by mentioning that the British curriculum is very learner-centered and personalized, and so that gives teacher the opportunity to be creative with lesson planning, which results in differentiated outcomes. And so, differentiation is something that needs to be happening in your classroom. Differentiation is meeting the needs of all your learners. That could mean you are providing challenging tasks for more able learners and support to less able learners. You would also have to organize your lesson in a way that it has a beginning, a middle, and an end. And so your lessons would have a starter, main activity, and a plenary. And the main activity would have to be organized in a way that it caters to the needs of all your learners. Now, this particular slide is giving away a few of the many aspects you need to keep in mind when you are teaching in a school that follows British curriculum. Reflection time. Now that you have looked at the British curriculum and realized that it involves learner-centered teaching and that differentiation needs to happen in your lesson, while you're organizing your lesson, you would have to organize a starter and a plenary. I would like to end this session by asking you to reflect on the following two questions.
I hope this session was useful and it helps in your transition to British curriculum. Welcome on board and all the very best.
My name's Malik Etiku and I'm the Vice Principal at GEMS Winchester Fujairah. I hope you found the information within this presentation useful and it has provided you with an overview of the British National Curriculum, a flexible framework for learning used all over the world. All the schools within our cluster are very different contexts, different locations, and above all, different learners. Personalization is the key, and the national curriculum provides an excellent vehicle for this to take place. The QR code within this presentation will allow you to explore the documents referred to by my colleagues in greater depth. It's also important to note that when we talk about the curriculum, the programs of study allow for the development of leadership. For example, head boy, head girl, school council reps, digital ambassadors, and climate change champions. All these serve to enrich the curriculum and provide a wonderful learning journey for all our students. May I take this opportunity to wish you all the best for the future as you embark on this new adventure. Thank you.